Hey everyone, welcome to the UVD Weekly Wrap-Up, the show where the team from UrbanVinylDaily.com goes over everything there is to know in the designer toy, street art, and Sofubi world. I'm your host, Travis Likens.
And I'm Ben Pierce.
And we're here today to tell you a little bit about the show. First off, this is our first episode, which we are entitling The Shape of Blogs to Come. If you happen to be a Refused fan, you might catch a reference there. But basically, if you guys have been following us for the past 5.5 years or so, we've mainly stuck behind the keys. We haven't really got out in public. We haven't really done anything but go to shows, have our own art shows, create some toys on our own.
Designer Con, you'll remember us from there.
Yeah, but today we're starting a new thing. So we're going to try to do a weekly show. Weekly is the key word there.
As compared to daily, Urban Vinyl Daily.
And what we're going to do is we're going to try to run down some of the biggest stories that we saw throughout the week in the world. So if you enjoy our blog, we're hoping to make this like a video version of the blog that you guys are already reading. So that's kind of the goal. I mean, I don't know what else Ben wants out of this, but that's what Travis wants. So.
Maybe condense a little bit for you guys who are constantly on the move. Just one time a week, wrap up what we covered during the week, and that way you can just have everything condensed in video form. That way you get to look at us, listen to us, and not pretend to know what we sound like behind the keys.
And there you go. That's kind of the goal. So I guess we'll just kind of roll into the show we have planned for this week. First, we'll start off with toy news.
So first, depending on how close of attention you paid to what Kid Robot and Scott Tolleson have been doing, he recently released the AP version of his Imperial Lotus figure that Kid Robot produced. So his APs quickly sold out, not a chance of getting any more, but the silver lining is you can buy a base for your production figure. So that's a 3-day timed run from this Thursday, May 19th through Saturday, May 21st for $80 a piece at 9 inches across, and it'll be available at stoliart.com.
Yeah, and it's a nice resin piece, as you can see in the photos, and it's actually like the pink color that kind of it matches the figure perfectly, and it makes a good way to display the figure that you have and make it kind of stand out a little bit from just your regular Dunnies that you might have on your shelf. So it's actually really cool that Scott opened this up, and it doesn't detract from the AP either. I mean, because the AP had the additional pieces sculpted onto it.
I think Scott seems to be going the extra mile with his pieces that he's been doing recently to make them stand out on your shelf, make you want to get them, and proudly display them.
Yeah, so I think it's a pretty good job all the way around from the piece itself. Kid Robot did a bang-up job producing the original piece, and this is just the icing on the cake. So if you're into Scott, if you got that figure, then this is definitely for you. So kind of continuing on the news section here, you may have already heard about this because it was done in a Kickstarter. Toy Break recently celebrated their 10th anniversary through their 24-hour Toy Break show. And what they did was they had a Kickstarter that also ran concurrently with the 24-hour Toy Break, raising money to create a 10th anniversary coin. The Kickstarter was funded. Surprise. The Kickstarter was funded, and they have now got them in. So, like, I am lucky enough. Hold on just a sec. Okay, I thought I had a coin. Oh. Huh. Where else would you keep a coin but your pocket? So, the coin actually is pretty cool. It's a 1.5-inch coin. And since they got them in, they actually now have them available on their site. Octobertoys.com. You can grab one of these 1.5-inch coins in the antique silver colorway for just $10. So
pretty good deal.
Yeah. I mean, if you're a coin collector or if you just like having a cool way to support Toy Break, other than just watching the show, it's a great way to pick up and support Toy Break. So,
or a cool way to decide heads or tails when you do bets.
Yeah, or as the coin says, if you're having trouble deciding if you should keep the toy in the box or you should play with it, the coin can solve that for you because one side says take it out, the other side says play with it. Or sorry, one side says keep it in the box, and the other side says play with it. So, I mean, I'm pretty impressed with the coin.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, so. Maybe at Designer Con, you can use it to settle drinking games. Everybody, pull out your coin.
I'd hate to see you play quarters with that.
I was referring more to like a lot of times with like challenge coins.
Okay.
It's if you everybody pull out your coin. The person that doesn't have one has to buy the round of beers. So
hate to be that guy.
Yeah. So if you don't want to be that guy, get over to octobertoys.com.
So next on our podcast is Jermaine Rogers, that he recently released the 3rd out of 4 of the Creeping Deities. This one was the plasma. It was very quick to sell out, 2 seconds in fact, and it had been teased for weeks and weeks. He has a loyal customer base, and people love it, and I think it frustrated a lot of people.
Yeah, we've been seeing some feedback that is kind of frustrated.
Obviously, out of 25, it's going to sell super fast, obviously.
Especially with the following that Jermaine has. So, I mean, the real question kind of that we're presenting in this cast, is that should something like this be a lottery release or some sort of, way to make it not more fair, but, not as like a rush to the website to try to sell it out. And I mean, I don't really know the answer to it. I do know that a lot of companies do that when it's going to be something that is going to sell out super quick, and they know that it's, because the internet itself, like if you have varying speeds in the internet, it makes it hard to get things sometimes in situations where websites become overrun. So, I mean, it might be a way to kind of make it a little easier.
And honestly, Jermaine is, I think, one of the better ones, if not the best, of accommodating everyone. He does his during the workday release, and he understands that people work during the day and actually has a working man's release later in the evening, which I think is the most fair that you could do. But with something that's 25 and resin, it's going to sell out regardless. There's nothing he can really do about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, we're not telling Jermaine what to do, but that might be something to think about,
Possibly.
So continue on the way with a company that does deal with lotteries on the regular, would be that Mutant Vinyl Hardcore and RealxHead have revealed, because it was already previously announced, a vinyl test pull of the upcoming, let's see, what is it called? The Sludge Fighter. Sorry. The Sludge Fighter actually comes in an A version and a B version. And what it is it's a RealxHead body. In one of the figures, it has just the sculpted head from Mutant Vinyl Hardcore. So one version features RealxHead body, RealxHead hands, Mutant Vinyl Hardcore head. The second version features Mutant Vinyl Hardcore head and Mutant Vinyl Hardcore sculpted hands on a RealxHead body. They both look super cool. I mean, lots of detail as you would expect from a figure designed by Rich over at MVH. And, it's really cool to see this collaboration specifically because Rich kind of started out covering RealxHead on his site, Mutant Vinyl Hardcore. So before he made figures, RealxHead was kind of one of the companies that he really supported and really got behind. So it's really cool to kind of see it come full circle, that a fan becomes a creator and then works with the creator that inspired him, one of the creators that inspired him. So it's just kind of a cool thing to point out and look at. And, if you're looking at the photos right now, we'll let you know if we catch out any more information on when it's going to be released or, if it's going to be a lottery or how it's going to be available. So look for more in the future from that one.
I'll apologize in advance. I'm about to butcher this, but I'm sorry, but you all know. Slave One and unaffiliated SJ, here's the butchered part, Yatakai is finally here. The first 2 editions, the black and the glow in the dark, are finally released after, I think, a while of it being shown and previewed.
From what I can remember, it was probably revealed like a year and a half ago. I want to say it was revealed roughly around DesignerCon 2013. I'm sure I've got this wrong, but I believe that's when I remember first seeing it. And it's really cool to see that this piece has finally, made it through the production process. And it takes the figure that Slave One had created and adds, pieces designed by unaffiliated SJ. And it's really cool to see it finally in vinyl and see it with the eyes inset into the piece. And I'm really excited to see some painted releases. They believe they were $60, so it's not a bad price for the figure as well. So hopefully we get some really cool painted versions from tons of different artists, and I'm just excited to see what people do with it, really. Next up on the list, we have the Project Guano custom blind bag mock bat release from Ectotyper. He had worked with Unbox Industries and, get this, Paul Kaiju himself, to create a custom blind bag series that features artists such as Deluxe, Obsessed Panda, Ectotyper, Nebulon 5, Hello Pike, Top. I'm going to butcher this one. Probably
Topafoy.
Yeah, there we go. Topafoy. Gotcha Bert, and David Kaufman. So the series features a lot of artists that are big, pretty big in the scene, and it actually was up for lottery today. So this probably won't make it. This video won't make it up before this is over. But it was really cool to see a series that featured a Paul Kaiji design being opened up to other artists officially, and allowing them to customize the design and released for sale. So like you don't always see that, like kind of almost like being officially licensed. It's kind of like he agreed to have this done. So it's really cool to see that. And I'm kind of hoping that in the future we see some more of that, maybe some limited runs with some artists that are, really doing some quality work on these customs in the Sofubi scene. So hopefully we'll see some more on that. These actually were the 4-inch mini mock bats produced by Unbox Industry. And the custom series was selling for $100 per bag, which for a blind bag, that's kind of a gamble, but all the pieces I saw, like I wouldn't be too upset if I got any of these. So hopefully cross his fingers, I win the lottery and I get one. So
good luck to you.
Yeah. Good luck to anybody that entered that lottery. And once you win, make sure to share, either send them over on Instagram, tag us in it. I just like to see what everybody got. It's fun.
So the last item in our weekly wrap-up as far as toys is concerned is the Secret Base Toy Art Gallery release that happens this coming Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for $90. It's the SpongeBob DX figure in the pink glitter, which is part of the long line of successful SpongeBob figures.
Yep.
So go get that at shop.toyartgallery.com.
Yeah, so it's always cool to see these releases because I feel like SpongeBob's like designed for the soft vinyl. It just looks so good in that piece, and it really captures all the detail of the character. So if you're a SpongeBob fan and you like pink, this is the one for you. So kind of moving on, and the next section of news that we have, we actually go into the art world. So we've got 2 pieces that we want to talk about this week that we saw revealed. One of which is from friend of the show, Jay Fury. He's revealed his Lost Voodoo piece, which is actually a 24 by 8-inch canvas. And it's cool because it features like a new style from Jay Fury. The bunny actually looks super realistic as far as like a cartoon bunny can look. And the background is like nothing I've ever seen from Jay Fury. It's almost like clouds or space or like, I don't even know how to describe it, but
maybe
like
a little bit of ether.
a little bit of ether, a little, crap. I'm just totally blanking on this right now. But it's one of those things that like, it's not something you've seen from him before, but I want to see more. I want to see more like that. And I mean, if you're looking at the picture right now on the screen, it's super different from Jay Fury. And I just want to see him explore this more. So that's why we wanted to mention it and make sure that you guys caught this and got to know about it. So, but continuing on in the art section.
So the second part is Street Artist Pez, who is no stranger to the blog, is doing a ska Pez piece that's 50 centimeters by 50 centimeters, which for those who are not familiar with ska, I'm sorry for you, but it's a figure or a character like slam dancing to like the ska form. Yeah, so it's almost like you're right in the middle of like a Less Than Jake concert, slam dancing away. Or Real Big Fish or whomever you decide to follow. Yeah. Operation Ivy. I don't know. We'll just keep going on about bands, but it's a really cool piece, and it features it like over and over again, like on the piece, and they're kind of like facing the opposite direction. So it's just like a really cool working piece. I could really see it being like, I would hope to see it being made as a print, but like I could see it actually being like turned into fabric or like any kind of thing that like a backpack. Like I could see it all kinds of places. Just it's really cool and really like inviting. It's just a cool design. Yeah. So that's the way his design usually is, the concepts. Yeah. So kind of continuing on, we want to roll into the art shows section of the weekly wrap-up. Which fortunately we have a couple shows that start this week, I believe, and the weeks following. The first one is friend of the blog, Greg Crayola Simpkins, who has Beyond Shadows opening up at KP Gallery, May 21st in Los Angeles, or MK Gallery, I'm sorry. And it opens from 7 to 10 and lasts until June 18th. If you've never heard of Crayola, you had better check him out, seriously. Yeah, so, I mean, things like there's a book called Drawn from the Well. It's a really good look at a lot of his work. We've actually reviewed it on the blog.
his work is so intricate and so like every time you look at it, you see something different. So like if you're in Los Angeles and you're not going to this art show, you need to like clear your calendar because his pieces in person, I'm sure, are even more amazing than anything we've ever seen just by looking at prints or books or anything like that. So
plus he's super approachable, super humble. So go up and talk to him, congratulate him on a successful show.
Yep. So kind of continuing on.
So the next one is from Kate Michuki, who you may know, may not know from Garfunkel and Oates on the Independent Film Channel show.
Yeah, IFC.
IFC.
That's what the kids are calling it these days.
So her show Love and Pasta at Gallery 1988 opens up Friday, May 27th, which is a week after this is posted.
Yep.
And the artist portion of the sales goes to benefit 826 LA, which goes towards assisting teachers and students afford and fund projects that they may not be able to afford or fund through normal school means.
Yeah, it's a cool way to, kind of hopefully inspire kids to start creating, because we got to start inspiring new kids to create art or else, might slow down or die, Yeah. So it's always cool when you see a show that's donating profits towards, towards student things like that. So kind of continue on. This is something we're not really sure exactly what's going on with it, but we thought it was really cool when we saw the Instagram video posted on the Dabs Mila Instagram this week, which showcased them painting vinyl record covers.
Been done before, but I'm sure they'll do it amazingly.
Yeah, they do. So what they did was they actually took a lot of designs, and it's not like they took an album cover and painted it. What they did was they created album artwork in their style for different artists. So they created some like Iggy Pop, the Beatles, Sonic Youth, just to name a few that we've seen so far. And I mean, from the stack they had in the picture, they just have a ton of them. So I'm excited to see what it's for. They're saying it's for an installation that's going to be in New York City, but that's all the detail we have. So I'm excited to see if there's more installation work. Like they've painted books in the past. I don't know if any of those are for this or what else they're doing, but I'm excited to see what they do with this. So keep a watch on the @DabsMila Instagram, and maybe we'll find out what it is together. So
something else we've also posted on the blog, and now has come to real life, is the Robots Will Kill 15th anniversary show at My Plastic Art.
Man, 15 years. That's a while. What were you doing 15 years ago?
I was in high school before I could drive.
Yeah, me too. I was like, we were both like in sophomore in high school, weren't we? Yeah, man.
Maybe
time flies.
So this is something else we're lacking a lot of detail on, but we saw Kano post about it. So obviously he and a lot of Brooklyn and New York artists are going to be super involved in this
I saw the artist list. It's rather long. Like we couldn't mention all the names on this. I mean, it's tons of people coming out to support support Chris RWK, and his whole like character. I mean, it's awesome that he's been able to keep a character going for 15 years. I mean, and people have related with it and love seeing it. And the artwork looks great. Every time he posts a picture, I'm like, man, that's awesome. So it's fun and exciting to see a celebration at My Plastic Art. So if you happen to be around My Plastic Art, make sure to stop in and check it out. Let us know, send some photos. We're always looking for photos.
Always and forever.
So, another thing we had on the agenda for today is actually a show that took place in Detroit. Our friends at Interstate Gallery actually had a show that started last month with Luke Chueh called Damaged Goods, and it was coming down this week. So we wanted to take a second to kind of just talk about the show a little bit. We didn't actually make it out, but we saw a lot of photos. My personal favorite pieces, he actually did a bunch of miniature pieces that looked like his little bear head. And they were actually I believe they were wood from what I saw.
I think they were too.
Yeah. So then he painted them and he splatter painted them. And it's almost like galaxy looking kind of. That's the lack of the best I could describe, but that was actually my favorite pieces from the show.
And those were available on 1X Run.
Yep. From 1xrun.com. It's always good to see a Luke show. Like if you have the chance to stop in and check one out, it's always good.
So my favorite from that show was Candle Man, because like a candle, it starts out hot and eventually burns out, which I assume like motivation or energy or just general opinions of things, you eventually just burn out from doing stuff.
Yeah, like 5.5 years of blogging.
Yeah, but we're still going strong. We haven't burnt out yet.
Yeah, we haven't burnt completely out, but we're definitely trying to mix things up with the show. So we'll see what it goes with, though.
Hope you guys like it.
But kind of continue on the same vein. If you happen to be in Beacon, New York, around Clutter Gallery, Luke actually has a show that's available for view right now. It's called Bear in Mind, and actually featured the Bearhead piece that Clutter created, which is Luke's signature Bearhead.
Not to be confused with the Kickstarter version.
Yeah, not to be considered with the dissected Kickstarter version. But this the Bearhead was painted by a ton of artists. There was some amazing pieces. Like when you think like, oh, somebody's going to paint a Bearhead, like you don't know what they're going to do with it. But people thought way outside the box with this piece. There were many pieces where people added on bodies and things like that. One of my personal favorites from the show was actually the 64 color piece, where it looks like they attached it to like, I don't know if it's a Dunny or money body or what they used, but they attached it to a body and then painted the whole thing, and it just looks absolutely beautiful.
I enjoyed the J-Roo version. It was a hot air balloon. That's obviously awesome, but I also enjoyed James Groman's version.
Yeah,
it was pretty cool, very colorful, very vibrant, very detailed.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about the J-Roo piece was actually the fact that it's inspired by a Luke piece. So he took a Luke Bearhead, created a piece inspired by a Luke original art, and then put his emo flair on top of it. And it just turned out great with all those like dark, I'm assuming they're washes, to kind of really darken it up and make it look really, really sweet. And I believe that piece is still available when we were looking at the preview list earlier. So
yeah, I believe so too.
If you happen to be in New York and have some money to burn, that'd be a great place to spend it.
Or just want to burn it online.
Or that. So kind of the last bit of news we have in the art show section is news that we don't really know a whole lot about. But our friends at Interstate again, up in Detroit, Michigan, they have announced that they are going to have a show with the legend.
One and only.
The legend.
Out of San Francisco.
Mike Giant. That's all we know.
We can hear you clapping through the monitor.
Yeah. We can definitely hear you clapping. And it's going to be in November. No details at all, except for the fact that it's happening.
Please don't be during DesignerCon.
Yeah, please don't be, because we'd like to drive up from Dayton here and check it out. So keep your eyes on that. We'll be sure to let you know as we learn more. Well, one final thing we kind of want to take advantage of here is that we know that all of you folks that are watching right now may not know what we've been up to for the past couple of months, but we actually launched a Kickstarter back in the February timeframe, and it was successfully funded. It was called Luna, and it was to produce the bot's original design, which was Luna.
Thank you, everyone, for supporting that, by the way.
Yes, thank you very much. But since then, we have not just been sitting on your money or spending it on things we shouldn't be. We actually have started the production process. So right now, as you can see what Ben is wearing, we have the shirts in. So that's a plus. We also have the pins in. We got those from China last week. And we also got word from the toy factory that the prototype is actually getting ready to be made into wax. So that's the step right before it gets molded. So, I mean, we're moving right along. The only thing left for the lower tiers, now when I'm saying lower tiers, I mean anybody who didn't order a Luna figure. So you can write me hate mail if you don't, or you can ask me questions, let me know. But we're hoping to start shipping everything from the tiers that do not have actual figures included with them or do not have the bot customs. So mainly t-shirt prints, button packs. We're hoping to ship those out starting in June. So you'll start seeing shipping notifications, and we'll be reminding you to make sure your addresses are up to date. So we want to start getting everything we can out to you guys as soon as possible.
Be sure to tag us in photos on Instagram so we can have a whole army of everyone and everything that's been sent out and supported. Yeah,
and the best way to do that is tag us at Urban Vinyl Daily or use the hashtag Luna Kickstarter. That's the best way to make sure that we can see everything. So, but again, like we said a minute ago, thanks so much for everybody for supporting that and coming on this journey with us. Obviously, you guys took a little bit of risk because we have never done this before. But we've been around this industry a while, and we've learned a lot, and we've made a lot of friends that were able to help us out along the way.
We think you'll be very happy with it when you actually get it in your hands and see it.
Yep. So we can't wait to see what happens next, and we'll be sure to keep you up to date on this show and on the site. So I think that kind of wraps up the episode, though. So, I mean, we'll just kind of run down a couple of things. As always, you can check us out daily for the moment on urbanvinyldaily.com, where you can catch all kinds of news that we're talking about. We won't cover everything that we post on the blog on here, and everything we talk about on here won't be on the blog. So,
and honestly, send us an email if you want us to talk about something specifically. If you have a show coming up, obviously our email gets very full very quickly. And just send us a specific email. Hey, if you could mention my show on your weekly wrap-up.
Yep. And if you want to do that, make sure to send it over to urbanvinyldaily@gmail.com. So that's how you can get in contact with us. If you want to let us know about a show, if you just want to say, hey, you guys are doing a great job, that's a great way to get in contact with us. If you want to keep up with our more daily antics, you can always check us out on Twitter or Instagram @urbanvinyldaily. We post fairly regularly with things that are going on in our own collections, things that we see that are cool that we don't have time to post for. We try to make sure to retweet things and all that kind of stuff as well. So that's a great place to catch all the latest news from the designer toy art world. So the other thing we'd like to announce is that actually, if you're a fan of things that are relatively nerdy, like TVs, movies, comics, video games, I'm also on a podcast called Token Nerd.
I am not. I'm sorry.
He's not. I have another co-host for that show. But if you want to check us out, we do weekly updates about all that stuff that I listed before. And you can find us either by searching on iTunes, Podbean, Stitcher, or YouTube, Token Nerd. But you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter as well, token_nerd. And you can find everything you need to know about how to find the podcast and all that kind of stuff there. And we appreciate anybody that listens to this, listens to Token Nerd. If you can share, that's the best way to get this out to more people. Commenting down and below in the comments section, that's another good way to help people let people know that we're doing a good job or a bad job. I mean, you can like and subscribe right here on YouTube. And that's another great way to keep up with the latest weekly wrap-ups. But as a first episode, I think we didn't do too bad. We're kind of stumbling our way through a little bit as we kind of work through this. But
thanks for bearing with us.
Yeah, and I think this is probably Ben's first time ever doing something like this.
Yes.
It was a hesitant yes, but yes. So obviously, as we get going, we'll get a little bit more smooth and we'll get a little bit better at this. So just make sure, check us out weekly. And for lack of better words, stay spicy, my friend.
Enjoy it while you can.